And welcome back. I think this is day 6 now of the Ravnica spoilers. So I'm going to go over to today's spoilers. You hear Domino in the background there. Today's spoilers, but I also got to go over the other spoilers that came out during the weekend and remaining of Friday. By the way, quick note of fact, not to probably the small number of people who will watch this video. Constructive criticism is all well and good. I appreciate it. Anyone who wants me to improve my craft, I appreciate that as well. But when you make a comment and saying constructive criticism, try ending the comment in a way that actually sounds constructive and not sounding like you're just complaining. Because I'm not naming names. You can find out who it is if you check one of the videos. I had a video up yesterday and someone does some constructive criticism and listed things they didn't like about the video, which is fine. They just didn't end it in a way that made it sound like they were actually giving constructive criticism. They just ended it in a way that made it sound like they didn't like what they were watching, which is fine as well. But understand that that's not really constructive criticism so much as you masking complaints in the guise of constructive criticism. I digress, though. So, and I think what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to go over basically the two mythics they spoiled today, and then I'm just going to backtrack and just scroll through everything that came out from Friday to now. So we have a Is It enchantment. Excuse me. I've got a little acid reflux going on. 1,000-Year Storm. 1 red, 1 blue, and 4 of any color for a mythic enchantment. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant or sorcery spell you cast before this turn. You may choose the new target for a spell. This is also a story card. I don't know if it's going to be the last story card, and by that I mean chronologically in the story cards. This is the last part of the story in this part of this set, and then leading into the next set. But it does come off that way. It says, Rouse Storm Crackle with mystical detection. Planeswalkers are infiltrating Ravnica. Essentially, it's able to detect when Planeswalkers show up. Meaning, if you're not there, they're going to find out you're there. As for the spell itself, it's pricey. But it's a good, especially when you're using cheap effects. It can be a dangerous lightning bolt. Okay, I got 2 lightning bolts in my hand. Well, I'm going to lightning bolt for 1. Then I'm going to play another lightning bolt and get another lightning bolt. So I'm basically doing 9 damage to your face for the price of 2 mana. That could be scary. Or there's another one called Justice Strike that I'll go over that right now. 1 white, 1 red for a instant uncommon. Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Someone's got a gigantic power versus a gigantic butt. Double play this twice, play something cheap, play this, there you go. There's a lot that could be, I could see this being played more in Commanders because of the mana cost. The mana cost is really what kind of hurts this. It's steep. 6 mana in the type of deck that would run this is steep. But it's a mythic worthy effect, absolutely. Excuse me. Divine Visitation is the other mythic we had spoiled today. 2 white, 3 of any color for another mythic enchantment. If 1 or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So any sapling you have is basically turned into any creature you have is turned into a 1/1 or a 4/4 flying angel creature. Now, for 5 mana, it's obviously a little cheaper to play than, say, 1,000-Year Storm. So right off the bat, it has that advantage to it. It's also only in 1 color. You got that advantage. But clearly, it's not truly a Selesnya card, but it's going to take advantage of the Selesnya cards. Particularly Convoke. What is it? The March of the Multitudes. Convoke, create that many 1/1 soldier creature tokens. You're going to go just creating 4 tokens or anything like that. Will make you an army of flying angels at that point. So yeah, I mean that's honestly a fantastic card. I got decks. I had decks that are going to have a nice or that are going to give that a welcomed home. So yeah, I'm down for that one, absolutely. I think I went over these ones already, but I'll go over them again real quick. 1 black, 3 of any color for Creeping Chill, which is a sorcery uncommon, deals 3 damage to each opponent and you gain 3 life. Already a solid effect. When this is put into your graveyard from your library, you may exile it, and if you do, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. Basically does the same effect. So for 4 mana, you get the 3 to each opponent, and 3 you gain on a 1-on-1 game that might be a little steep, but still not bad. Obviously, this is supposed to work with Surveil, even though it's not actually a Dimir card. And truth be told, if you can get it off our Surveil card, this is one of those cards that you want to use with Surveil. Definitely you want. I could actually see you running 4 in a deck, just so you could ping someone for free, basically, for 3 damage and gain 3 life. So honestly, yeah, I could see this being very useful. This is actually not a bad card at all. I could definitely see this being played. Forgive me if I have a burp every now and then. I'm dealing with some acid reflux right now. Maximize velocity is 1 red for a sorcery with jumpstart. Target creature gets +1/+1 in haste. It's fine. It's good. It's a 1/1 jumpstart. It's a reasonable pump. It gives you haste. It's only 1 mana, so it's actually probably a big thing. Give it haste and have at it. So ultimately, yeah, I can see it working. Dimir Spybug, 1 blue, 1 black for a 1/1 insect, flying, menace. When it gets a +1/+1 counter when you surveil. You're going to need to be in a surveil deck, but, do you even surveil just once or twice, and you'll have a 3/3 for that's, I believe I read that right. It has, yeah, it's flying with menace. Oh, yeah, that actually becomes, just making it a 2/2 is dangerous, because now you have a 2/2 that cannot be blocked by anything more than 2 creatures with flying or reach. You can pump it up any farther than that, your opponent's going to have a hard time getting rid of it outside of actual spells. Lotleth Giant. 1 black, 6 of any color for a 6/5 zombie giant. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage. Undergrowth. When it enters the battlefield, does 1 damage to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. This is a big Golgari card with Undergrowth that I can get behind. It's already a 6/5 for 7, which is basically it's a burn spells more or less on a stick. But despite that, it's a 6/5. 7 is a bit hefty, but because it's 7, you won't be playing this until later on in the game. Even if you play it early, you're probably still not playing it until turn 5 or 6. I'm for it if you've got amazing mana acceleration, but 5 or 6 at the earliest. And at that point, you probably do have anywhere between 2 to 3 creatures in the graveyard at minimum. If you want to just hold on to this is really a late game bomb. So if you have anywhere between 5 or 7 creatures at that point, burn that shit out of them. I mean, that's 7 damage this thing pumps out at your opponent, and then you also can still have a 6/5 on the field. Overall, it's a good card. It's honestly a pretty solid one, actually. Enhanced Surveillance, 1 blue, 1 of any color for a uncommon enchantment. You may look at an additional 2 cards each time you surveil. Exile this card, shuffle your graveyard back into your library. If you're running the Surveil deck, you want this card. Your Surveil 1 turns into Surveil 3. The Surveil 4 on Dream Eater turns into Surveil 6. That thing is actually kind of nuts. I wouldn't run more than 2, because otherwise they're just clogging up your hand. Or just or just kind of taking up room in your deck. Granted, they also function not just for the... Although, I'm wondering if it stacks. Because if it stacks, then you have something. Then you would run 4, or at the very minimum 3. I think 3 actually be better. 4 might be pushing it. But I mean, you'll surveil. Surveil 1 turns into the Surveil 7. Hell, it turns into Surveil 5 at 2. So actually, I mean, again, in the Surveil deck, mind you, you take the Surveil thing out. All this thing does is exile itself. Shuffle your graveyard into your library, which is not bad, especially if you want to just recover all the shit you lost. Overall, it's a really unique card. I like it. And I'm not big on the Surveil mechanic myself, even though it's probably the best one. Ladev Guardian, 1 white, 3 of any color for a 2/4 with Convoke, Human Knight. It's just a standard common Convoke creature. And for what it's worth, it's fine. I mean, if you're in Celestia, you'll probably end up casting this more for like 3, maybe even 2. I don't see many times you'll cast it for 1 though. Because it's just not a creature that warrants you to just tap that many creatures down. But still, not bad. Disinformation Campaign. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 of any color for an enchantment. Uncommon. Enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and each opponent discards a card. And whenever you surveil, return this card to its owner's hand. Again, here's the problem I'm having with all these cards in the mirror. is that yes, it's synergizing with the guild, but it's synergizing specifically with the guild in this set. You can't synergize with anything else outside blue or black outside this set. It's specifically for. Now I obviously get there are cards that are going to have to activate for Surveil, but you have so many I'm seeing at this point that really you won't be able to do anything outside of this set, and maybe the next. Not the Ravnica Legions, but the set after that, it's going to have the guilds fighting Nico Bolas. I'm sure you'll get a couple more Dimir cards in that as well. So I don't know. I'm at odds with this. And the card itself isn't really an enchantment so much as a permanent spell that just activates and then does nothing until you surveil again. So yeah, and if you can't surveil, then this thing just you got to draw one card for 3 mana, and then you got to made them discard a card, which is not bad, but then it does nothing as it sits there. I don't know. Again, if you're in a Surveil deck, this is a very good card, actually, in a Surveil deck, because you'll be able to get resources and everything like that, but ultimately, I don't know if I'm really keen on it. I'm not big on... I have plenty of blue-black. I have, like, at least 2 blue-black decks. Maybe 3. I'd have to think on that. I know I have 2, at least. Excuse me. But... I don't know. It's just not... And I love blue. Blue's my favorite color, followed by green. Black's my least favorite color, though. So, you have my favorite color with my least favorite color, which does add for some interesting cards. I just don't think this is one of them, at least not in my opinion. Anyway, straighten out so I'm a bit more centered. Loxodon Restored. 1 white, it should be 2 white, 4 of any color for a 3/4. Elephant Cleric with Convoke, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Again, realistically, this one's better than, say, the Ledev Guardian, because it has 1 extra power, and it has an additional enter the battlefield effect, whereas the Ledev Guardian was just a 2/4 that did nothing but had Convoke. This one's better. It's more expensive, but again, you'll probably end up casting it later in game for probably something like 3, maybe 4. And at 4 mana, let's say 4 is probably the more reasonable usually. So for a 3/4 for 4 that gains 4 life when it enters the battlefield, it's alright. Piston Fist Cyclops is 2 hybrid mana, 1 of any color for a 4/3 Cyclops Defender. As long as you cast the instant or sorcery spell this turn, this card can attack as though it didn't have Defender. I believe there's another Cyclops that's very similar to that, but this one's a big, meaty one. And honestly, I like it, because it's a 4/3... See, right at the bat, it's a 4/3 Defender for 3 hybrid mana. Even that is usable. If nothing else, it is a very solid wall. And then you decide to cast an instant, which is probably going to do something that benefits you. Let's say, for instance, what was it called? Maximize Velocity. For 1 red mana, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains haste till the end of turn. There you go. That does it. That does the trick. You immediately turn into a 5/4 that can attack then. And then you can jumpstart that and do it again. I like cards like that. And I love... You see, Eze is probably... I don't know if it's my second. It might be my 3rd favorite overall guild in Ravnica. My first is Simic. Second is probably Gruul. Because again, even though I love blue is my more favorite color, green is my second. I like big meaty creatures, which Gruul has. And red, I think, is my 3rd favorite color. So, yeah, I mean, it all works out in the end, but I think Izzet is just my 2nd favorite, 3rd favorite altogether. And a card like this just kind of highlights that. Perihelion Patrol, 1 white, 3 of any color for a 2/3 human knight flying vigilance with mentor. This is usable. I mean, right off the bat, it's a 2/3 for 4 with flying and vigilance. That's good. That's just good stats. In fact, if anything else, if it had been cost 1 less, it would have been uncommon. And I mean, it has mentor, so right off the bat, and then the mentor. See, the mentors fuel into each other. You can mentor something else to become bigger than that, and then becomes bigger than that. Eventually, things will cap out. But, unless you can continually pump something up. Overall, though, no, this is a solid one. Absolutely it is. Book Devourer. This is funny. 1 red, 5 of any color for a 4/5 beast trample that eats books. Beast Uncommon Trample. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may discard all the cards in your hand, and if you do, draw that many cards. This is interesting. Red's card does have card draw. All the colors technically have some level of card draw. Blue is the card drawiest, the best at it. Red's though is unique because Red's is a more of a what people call a loot ability because you discard to gain new cards, or you gain new cards and then discard. This essentially is doubling down on that. And essentially, it's a book devour, so you devour the information in your hand, and basically, if you don't like your hand, just there you go. Granted, you have to get the trample through, which with all the burn spells in this, I don't know, that and how many creatures actually have for toughness to deal with. It's a tough toll, not tough toll. It's a big toll to do, but ultimately it's a good effect. It's gonna be if you're in red, it's definitely gonna be one of those big monsters that you need to have in the deck. So now let me see. And the beauty of it though is also it says you may, you don't have to. So if you do, you can. So if you do, you can just let it be, or you can't. If you hit them, you can, or let it be. Sprouting Renewal. 1 green, 2 of any color for an uncommon convoke sorcery. Choose 1. Create a 2/2 green white elf creature with vigilance, or destroy target enchantment or artifact. Essentially, you can either naturalize, which is what you would probably do, or create a 2/2 elf. Hell, even at its just regular cost, it's fine. It's slow though because it's a sorcery, but it's fine. Assurance. 2 hybrid green-white mana. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains indestructible to the end of turn. Solid. 1 white, 1 green, 4 of any color for Association. Create 3 2/2 green and white elf knight creature tokens with vigilance. They're both fine. I would probably say I like Association a little better just because it gives you more bodies. Enables the convoke, everything along those lines. I'm just checking my time here. Whoop. All right, we're not doing too bad. I'll speed through a few of these. Ultimately, though, it's a good one. I think I'd probably use the Association over the Assurance. All depends on what my board state is and how early in the game it is. Siege Worm. 2 green, 5 of any color for a 5/5 worm with Convoke and Trample. I think this card is a reprint, if I'm going to be honest, and it's still a good card. So, you could easily cast this simply for 5, and it's a 5 for a Trample. Anything cheaper, you're getting your bang for your buck, so it's a good card. Join Shields. 1 white, 1 green, 3 of any color for a instant uncommon. Untap all creatures you control and they gain indestructible and hexproof till the end of turn. Solid combat trick. It is a bit expensive, but they tend to be. It doesn't have Convoke either, which I might have expected it to, but oh well. Beacon Bolt. 1 red, 1 of any color, and 1 blue for a sorcery. Uncommon. Deals damage to target creature equal to the total number of instances and sorcery cards you control that you own in exile and in your graveyard. Obviously, and it has Jumpstart. Obviously, this is going to be pretty. You're usually going to run 1 or 2 of these. Only thing it doesn't do is hit the opponent. If it hit the opponent, this would probably actually be a rare card because you're just putting shit into your graveyard with the. Is it because of all the spells? Easily, you can get up to 4 or 5 spells, so you easily do 4 or 5 damage. So and you honestly you pay this you cast this card from your graveyard. It's still in the graveyard, even if it's in the exile zone. It's still in the exile zone too. So this card still counts for that. So then you just jump it up to 1 extra. Yeah, you can pretty much kill anything that doesn't have hexproof eventually with this card. Thief of Sanity. Essentially, it is oh crap. What is the name of that thing? Oh, Nightveil Spectre. Essentially Nightveil Spectre, which I have a couple of, and I love that card. I love the art on that card too. But it's a different version of it where it's 1 black, 1 of any color, and 1 blue. I don't know why I keep saying it in that order, but that's why I'm saying it. Rare, Spectre, 2/2, flying. When it deals combat damage to player, look at the top 3 cards of that player's library. Exile 1 of them face down, and then put the rest into the graveyard. For as long as this card remains exiled, you may look at it, you may cast it, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to cast this spell. It is essentially a An upgraded Nightville Spectre, actually. I mean, it's the only problem is its power is lower, its toughness is lower, which in these kind of sets can be a problem. Nightville Spectre was a 2/3, and it was a hybrid mono, so it had that advantage as well. But other than that, honestly, this looks like something out of Bleach, if I'm going to be honest, because the damn Spectre it's riding looks like, or the creature's riding looks like it's a hollow. It already basically mills a bit more off the top than Nightville Spectre did. You can already cast it and spend your own mana as though it were any mana. So that's something I had, because you basically had to capture land or be in the same color as your opponent to cast their spells, even though you could. So ultimately, I'd say it is an upgrade. It is just a little weaker in terms of its physicality, and its mana cost is a hair tougher to cast, simply because it's not hybrid mana, but 2 different mana. Chance of Glory. 1 white, 1 red, 1 of any color for an instant mythic. Creatures you control get indestructible. Take an extra turn after this one, and at the beginning of your turn's end step, you lose the game. Essentially, this is your last-ditch effort, or your last chance at glory. You either have to know you're going to win that turn, or hope on pray that you can basically stop your opponent from killing you, and then see if you have a last chance at glory, basically. It's chance at glory, but it's last chance at glory. We Dragonauts gets a reprint. Check out We Dragonauts. That card's been out for ages. World Soul Colossus. This is actually, there's another card in Gatecrest. It's a Simic card. This is essentially the Simic equivalent of it, except it can get even bigger than the Simic equivalent of it. 1 white, 1 and a green, X with Convoke. This creature enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. And what this has an advantage on over the Simic version of this is the fact it can Convoke and therefore become even bigger through just the creatures alone. But what it has a disadvantage of is the Simic one had flying, and that was a big deal. Still, though, it's a good Selesnya card. It's a beefy one, that's for certain. Hatchery Spider is 2 green, 5 of any color for a spider, rare, reach, 5/7, undergrowth. When you cast a spell, reveal the X cards of your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and you may put a green permanent card with converted mana costs X or less from among them onto the battlefield, but the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This is one of those fun bombs limited spells. This is just fun all around. I got a spider deck. I use spiders. I'm gonna use it. Definitely, I'll use it. It is a solid card, especially when you're on the Undergrowth deck at 7 mana. Though you're gonna wait a while to play it, which is fair. I mean, at that point, you'll probably have anywhere from 3 to maybe 5 creatures in the graveyard. So then you can get another thing for free. So ultimately, yeah, it's a solid card. Wand of Vertebra. 1 of any color for an artifact. Uncommon. Tap this card. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. Pay 2 and exile this card. Shuffle up to 5 target cards from your graveyard to your graveyard. I get why this exists in this set. You have Surveil, you have Undergrowth, you have Jumpstart. But ultimately, I don't like stuff that gets rid of my spells. I don't play decks that self-mill. To me, self-milling is self-defeating. Unless there's cards that need to activate. I mean, like Flashback, Jumpstart. Surveil doesn't activate from the grave, but Undergrowth, I get why he exists. And I think this is more tailored to the Golgari mechanic than anything else. Ultimately, though, I'm just not a big fan of those cards. If I were in Golgari, I'd want to use it probably, but yeah. Unmoored Ego. 1 blue, 1 red. 1 blue, 1 black, 1 of any color for a rare sorcery. Choose a card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library and then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand that way. So this is a catch-22. Yeah, you're going to get rid of cards, up to 4 cards, but then they get to draw that many. So, However, that said, note what it says. It doesn't say non-land card. It doesn't say non-permanent card. It doesn't say instant or anything. It doesn't specify card type. it says choose a card name. If you know what color land your opponent's using, you can ditch 4 of their land like that. Sure, they can draw 4 cards, but guess what? If they can't cast them, it don't mean shit. So in that sense, trust me, I will be finding a home for this card in some of my decks. This card's going to be a nice company. Play a couple of these. Here's the thing: you can just shit out. You can just completely kill the land in their decks, all of it, because it specifies a card name. If it's said non-land, we would be having a much different conversation here. But it doesn't. It says land, so until someone erratas that or says that's not what it means, that's what I'm going to be using it for. Last card, and we finally got the Guild Master. Not the Guild Leader, but the Guild Master of the Dimir. Itarata, which I think is a play on the word errata. The Silencer. 1 blue, 1 black, 2 of any color for a Vampire Assassin. Legendary creature, 3/5. Interesting body. It cannot be blocked, so it's unblockable. When it deals combat damage to a player, exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter? Am I reading that right? Put a hit. Yeah, okay. So it's a Vampire Assassin. They put a hit on. Okay. Put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more exile cards with hit counters on them. Errata owner shuffles... wait, what? Errata's owner shuffles Errata into their library? I do not understand that last bit of text. This last bit of text doesn't make any sense to me. It's not saying at the end of the turn, unless what I'm reading here is supposed to be tailored for Commander. Like after an opponent loses the game, or a player loses the game, you shuffle her into there. Is that what they're supposed to mean? Because if it is, that is very poorly worded. Yeah, that's really poorly worded. They should have said either afterwards. Yeah, they should have said afterwards shuffle her in, or at the end of when a player loses the game, shuffle the library. Loses the game to this effect, shuffle her back into your life. They should have made that more clear. But that said, this is a fucking dangerous card. This is a dangerous card. It's unblockable. It doesn't have hexproof, but it's unblockable. It's a 3/5, so it's got protection from most of the burn spells in this set, if not all of them. And look, you gotta basically, as it was saying, exile creatures that player controls. Yeah, I mean, this card's gonna be a nightmare going against Selesnya decks because they'll usually have a lot of creatures that aren't very big. I'd imagine going up against another Dimir deck might have a little issue. Golgari's definitely going to have an issue with this card. I actually don't think Izzet's going to have too much of a problem with this card, just because they're very spell heavy. So who knows? But still, this is a pretty solid card, honestly. And that's the last member of the guild that we have to go over. At least guild masters. Oh no, that's not true. We got the Boros one we still got to go over. We have our guild leader and master for Dimir, Lozov, and this girl. Got Izoni and Veraska, Niv and Aral. Yeah, Amara and Trisani, and yeah, we still got the Boros one. Until then, though, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Well, luckily, the next videos I do for this will not be as long because we're in the last week of spoilers. So the not as many cards are going to be coming out per day. Till then, though, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Remember, it's the week of What If, and I got a Who Would Win